everybody, it's Liz and Reuben with Abyss Paranormal. We're going to give Vicky a few minutes to do her thing before we get started. Tonight, though, we're talking about the environmental impact on human bodies and minds. We'll delve into that here in a minute a little more. I'll wait for Vicky.
She's got to share us out.
You need a haircut too.
Well,
Well, hey, Rue. Thanks for coming into the chat.
hi, I've heard of your channel and I'm a big fan. Long-time listener, first time on the show. Thank you, Vicky.
Did you share it out, Rue?
No, I just got a notification. It was Vicky sharing it out. Yeah, my hair is kind of funky, isn't it?
It's getting crazy.
Stressful Monday.
That's your everyday look.
No, this is my everyday look. Being judgy.
Can you hear that?
What is that?
It's the washer.
Oh.
It has a big load of jeans in it. You have the grease though to fix it?
Yes, and
Okay.
I was thinking about working on your pool tonight, though.
Okay. Vicky is done sharing us out. Okay. So if you're just coming in, I'm Liz with Abyss, and this is Reuben with Abyss.
Hello.
So a couple nights ago, Abyss Paranormal did an investigation at a location that made me start thinking about something that I think a lot of paranormal investigators often overlook or tend to forget about. I think sometimes, hey, John, I think that sometimes we get so focused on finding the paranormal that sometimes we forget that not everything is paranormal. And this particular location had a lot of water damage done to it, and it was very just wet, and there was a lot of mold and mildew. And the people were saying that whenever they went down into this area that's so wet and everything, that they were feeling a lot of pressure on their chest, that they were getting headaches, nausea, stuff like that. And I think, and during that particular investigation is when we really hyper focused again on environmental factors. And so tonight I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about environmental factors and the impact it has on the human brain and the body. Because we all are aware that environmental factors also influence the paranormal, but this is not about that. So, Reuben, one of the things I think that, um, well, we've seen on some of these bigger shows, they talk often about is radon. Do you know a lot about that or anything about that, and explain a little bit?
Like, I'm not really up on radon. Radon is a poisonous gas, but Daryl had done some research on it. And it apparently takes quite a bit of time for it to build up and to become noticeable in your system. It's kind of, I guess, kind of like a little bit like a neurotoxin. I mean, it can kill you eventually if it builds up in your system enough, but it's not, it doesn't have any long-term effects. So them just being down there in that place to wait out a storm for, what, an hour or two, um, and I don't think radon would have an effect on them.
So, I mean, is it prolonged exposure then to the body that would eventually start causing those types of situations? And what is the side effects of it? I mean, would they start hallucinating? Would they start feeling pressure on their chest? What kind of reaction would they get bodily?
No, it would be more like being lethargic.
Okay.
Eventually, I mean, from my understanding, you might get a little bit of muscle atrophy, um, because of being so lethargic. And then, of course, being lethargic also affects your endocrine system, which ups your stress level, your anxiety. So, I mean, a long term exposure would not be ideal at all. Um, and hi, John, and hi, Eddie, and the big uh, everybody. Uh, but yeah, so the biggest factor I think in that site was the moisture and the mold, and I think the biggest.
So hold on, don't jump into that just yet. We're going to get there. We're just
Okay.
going to kind of go through some of the things. We're kind of work our way through some of that stuff, right? So okay, so in that particular investigation, we know that it in fact wasn't radon, right? But I wonder, like, since that investigation, I've wondered how many people have actually put thought into what if it were radon. Is there anything that they can do to prevent radon exposure?
So that particular place has a vent. The biggest thing you can do for radon is just to vent it out or to seal it out. So they could put, there's like a special membrane they could have put in the inside that will seal out. Hi, Dina, Elohim, that will seal out radon. But you also have to vent it because, I mean, nothing's going to be 100%. So, like some kind of fan on the vent.
Now, radon is a naturally occurring element, correct?
Yeah,
It comes from the ground.
it just kind of, yeah, it just kind of seeps up. It's in pockets. So, and again, I'm going to quote Daryl again because he did do quite a bit of research, and apparently, limestone is a big creator of radon.
Which is awful for Missouri.
Yes, because
That's all we are.
we basically live on a giant piece of limestone. That's what the Ozarks geographic topology is.
Right. So another one that people may not think about also is nuclear. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Radiation.
Yeah, radiation. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So is radiation a naturally occurring element in the ground?
So, in different levels and different types, there's what they call soft radiation all around us, which is like what they call alpha and beta decay. Um, and and if it gets to be too much, it could harm you. But it's the X-ray radiation, um, that is really really bad, and it's the kind that can actually rip up your cells and stuff. And that's usually created by, like, nuclear isotopes such as uranium, plutonium, and I think there are some other ones that they're further up on the periodic table, but I mean, I can't name them all. But basically, what you would think of to make a nuclear bomb would be what can produce the hard radiation, which can damage you. It can cause you hair loss, nausea immediately, um, and then eventually death. And the only thing you can really do to fight it is iodine.
Now, does radiation, can it affect the mind overall? Can it like cause hallucinations, paranoia, anything like that?
Um, it would be really odd if it did. I mean, it's mainly just going to make you very sick, like you're being poisoned, because it's basically the hard radiation. The problem is it's a very fast particle and it just rips through molecules. So if it's ripping through your cells, it's tearing them up and causing your system to break down and just to get sick.
Exactly. That, so she says always do process of elimination of non-paranormal possibilities, which is why I'm doing this show tonight. Because, like I said at the beginning, I think a lot of times paranormal groups get so focused on let's find the paranormal that they don't think about those these common factors that actually are all around us all the time, and I think sometimes we forget about that. And so that's why I kind of wanted to focus on that tonight to kind of bring it back to the forethought of people who are watching. Um, so another common one I know that we all, as paranormal investigators, talk about all the time is EMF.
Yes.
Reuben, do you have a Geiger counter?
Do I have a Geiger counter? No. That's a really neat device that they came up with that uses a interruption to count radiation. And yes, Eddie, you're right. It's usually ionizing radiation, the low level. Um, and like I said, it does create, it can create nausea. Soft radiation can create nausea. It could maybe make you dizzy because of the electromagnetic properties of it. Um, but it's very rare that the soft radiation in the background is ever accumulated enough to become dangerous or damaging. Yeah, they are a shorter wavelength. The hard radiation. You're right, and they penetrate really bad. Um, oh wait, that's I said that wrong. Longer wavelength. It's a longer wavelength because that's what makes it able to penetrate. But
Okay. So, all right. So moving to the next, and EMF. So electromagnetic frequency. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly?
um, well, it actually has two meanings. EMF is either electromagnetic force or electromagnetic frequency
Field.
or field. Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
three. Yeah.
Yep. When
So
you started saying it, it popped. The last word popped in my head. So
so it's like one of those things where we say an acronym and then we say the end of it on doubled up and an EMF field.
EMF field. Yep.
Yeah. But an electromagnetic field can definitely cause problems in your brain. They've done experiments with this. I won't get into the ethics of how they conducted it, but they've purposely messed with people's heads with EMF, and it has caused hallucinations, paranoia, sorry, and violent acting out.
So let's go back just a bit though. Is it a natural occurring element?
EMF is naturally occurring just by the Earth spinning on its axis. It produces a magnetic field, which we all use for our compasses. So, yeah, it's a natural occurring thing, but the EMF that our environment, like if you went out in the middle of the woods and there was nothing around, go to that one place where the government does not allow you to transmit anything. I forget what state it's in. But anyway, you're still going to have EMF because of the earth. It's 7 hertz. It's the natural frequencies that our body likes. But anything modulated above that can create problems in your brain.
we often see EMF or high EMF readings around electrical boxes, electrical poles, Wi-Fi, even electronics and appliances in the home, stuff like that. Um, so when somebody has high EMF field, look at me, high EMF field. Oh, Dina has a good question. Minerals in the soil and rivers can conduct electricity, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And water, and that's something that's a good point, Dina. Pure water will not conduct electricity. It has to have a mineral in it that allows it to create ions to conduct electricity. Far too many ways. Yeah. And so the funny thing about the two things you mentioned is they're on far ends of what is called the spectrum, um, and not like the spectrum like you deal with, but the spectrum, the radio spectrum.
You keep going. She's giving a general information
Okay.
out.
So the wall current is actually more like the wall EMF is actually more detrimental to our brains than the Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi frequency is so high that it bounces off a lot of things. The wall frequency, depending on the country, is between 50 and 60 hertz, which means that it cuts through things. Not literally cuts through, but it goes through things. It goes through bunkers and stuff like that.
Walls and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So it's more likely to affect you. I'm sure that if you laid your head between a couple of Wi-Fi antennas and laid there for a long time, it would probably affect you. But it's more likely that if you laid by a power line for a short period of time, it's going to affect you.
So we go to an investigation and we notice that near the Wi-Fi router and all that stuff, that their electronics box that flashes lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can tell where our intelligences lie, huh? Mine is simplifying things to where people cannot understand it, and his is to make things understandable. So that's our talent. So the box that blinks a lot of lights,
right?
I think it's a router.
The wireless router, you're right.
When somebody has a lot of EMF coming off of the router or whatever, because it's always on though, and it's emitting into the home, can it cause those high EMF experiences that we talk about? The paranoia, the hallucinations, and things like that.
Only if it's by their head a lot.
So not just emitting into the home then.
Yeah, like the signal drops off dramatically. Like when you get, I forget the equation, but there's an equation. It drops off dramatically in strength when you get like 10 to 20 feet away from it. And they're not allowed to transmit that hard anyway because of the rules the FCC put in place. So Wi-Fi routers are not really that dangerous unless maybe you slept by one or had by your head while you're gaming a lot. Something like that. That could be it.
Well, you mentioned though, if we laid our head between two Wi-Fi transmitters, that something like that would happen. But what if you have the Wi-Fi that's going all the time? Then you have, thank you, a massive refrigerator. You have your you have all these appliances and electronics going at all times. Technically, you're in between these two things, or three, or four, or whatever. Would that be the same as what you're explaining then?
Well, and see, this is where the electric company gets in fights with environmentalists. Yes, absolutely, it can affect you. The wires in the walls going to the sockets and to all the things that pull it are just giant antennas that are transmitting nonstop.
So what you're saying then is one single Wi-Fi spot is not powerful enough to do all these things, but a culmination of all of these things in the home can do these things, correct?
Yeah, and it basically is it's basically a weird thing that it does with your head. It can give you headaches if you're exposed to it. It can give you nausea if you're exposed to it because it's a low frequency. But if one of the experiments that they conducted, they put a magnetic electromagnetics around someone's head and swirled the magnetic field around their head, and they all got horrifically dizzy and threw up instantly.
Okay.
So it can have an
So
immediate effect too.
isn't an MRI that same thing? A magnetic reson something something.
Magnetic resonating, yes, image. Yes, it does. It is an electrical, a magnetic field that swirls around you. However, it falls off over distance. So you got that giant magnet thing that they shove you in. When
Mhm.
it gets down to you, it's not as bad, and it's not. Usually, you're not going to have your head in there, but even then, they're not hitting you like what the government did to these test subjects, where they hit them with very strong magnets right against their head and swirled them. Like, so they just turn one off to just go around the circles. Just doing they were trying to see if it would reset people's personality.
Was it successful?
Huh?
Was it
No,
successful?
it was just a really good way to induce vomiting. And it made them really confused for a while, some of the subjects.
Okay. So, what is your final thing then about high EMF in a home? Do you think it can cause people to see things that are not happening, become paranoid, things like that, besides just the physical ailments that you were speaking of?
Yes, and there's one thing, definitely, that it can make you paranoid. It can make you have like not as good sleep if you're sleeping near that. I mean, it can do a bunch of things that can create you. It can make you paranoid. In some cases, I've heard of it making people hallucinate, but not as much as sound.
Okay. So, with that being said, let's move on then to sound.
Okay.
Humans are exposed to constant sound all the time. I mean, it's to the point where I think most Americans, if it goes silent, we still hear noise in our head because we're just so not used to absolute silence, right? With the industry exploding as it may be, more factories going in, more things happening that everybody's all like, oh my god, we don't want that here, but they're doing it anyway, things like that, right?
Yeah.
On top of them emitting a massive amount of EMF, right, already, the constant drone, the constant buzz of sound at all times. As a matter of fact, there was a report that came out recently about a guy in Texas. All of his calves have been born stillborn since a particular type of industry came into his area. Um, when we are surrounded by that much noise, what can it do to the human body and mind?
Okay. So this is the funny thing. It's the noise that we can't hear that hurts us.
Huh.
Um, yes, Dina, cell phones used to really cause cancer, but that was when we were doing what was called AM modulation. It was the old school ones. The new ones have new antennas that are more efficient, and so they don't put out as much EMF. But you're right. Yeah, definitely. Old breakers can leak. The really old ones are really horrible because the wires weren't insulated much. But the sound that really hurts us and makes us hallucinate is something we can't see. We can't hear. Sorry. So the human ear, on a good day, I mean, obviously, the older you get, the less it's going to work. But the younger people, they can hear between 20 hertz and 2,000 hertz, and which is just a measurement of how fast the sound is going up and down like a wave. Okay, so like if you pictured an ocean, it would be between 20 waves in the ocean per second to 20,000 per second. That's what we can hear in sound. Um, but there was a scientist that was working in a lab, and he kept seeing a ghost.
Sorry, hold on a second.
It's all right.
I knocked my camera down. Okay.
He
Go
kept
ahead.
seeing a ghost, but only when he was in a lab. And he was concerned that maybe the lab was haunted, and so he tried to figure out what was going on, and so he decided, being a scientist, to measure sound in there. So he measured it, and there was a constant 19 hertz sound in that lab. So he took that 19 hertz, which is what's called infrasound, and he took it outside the lab and recreated the hallucination. Hi, Andrea. By producing 19 hertz at the same decibel rating as the lab was. Now, anything lower, like anything in like 10 hertz and below, you physically, like your body can sense it, and it will make you angry, like stupid angry. It will agitate.
Is that the sound that vibrates?
Yes, it's like it's shaking your earlobe, but you can't hear it, and so the brain becomes agitated. Um, the weird thing is that 19 hertz makes people hallucinate. Um, I think that's a pretty crazy quirk. 1 hertz below what we can hear makes us hallucinate. Um, and they've done experiments where they use ultra low frequencies, ULF sound, to make people vomit.
Don't they also like poop themselves too?
Yeah, sometimes. It's just a weapon that the military uses to protect their ships from non-violent people, like people that are protesting nuclear carriers and stuff. Yes, there is a note. There is a note, but I can't remember. It's in our frequency that we can hear, but when they project it on a loudspeaker, it will make you extremely nauseous at the very least, and then other side effects, as this points out. So, yes, there is some environmental aspects in that. One of the things I was thinking about, though, while I was on that ghost hunt the last time, was posture. Like, I noticed
Was what?
posture. I noticed that sometimes when I'm like doing some kind of experiment or whatever, or holding the camera, like I'm pretty stiff and upright when I'm normally not, and my neck starts hurting. So, I mean, there's something to be said for people if they're hunched down because they're timid about something that could create a pain in their neck
Tension.
or headache. Yeah, or a tension headache, even.
Yes.
But
Let's not go too far ahead though. Let's go back to the sound.
okay.
Okay. So with that being said, is there a naturally occurring frequency that can cause us hallucinations, or is it all man-made?
No, it's completely.
You bastard! Get!
I don't know what this is. Sorry.
Was that your computer?
Yes, that was the computer. It just started playing something random on Tubi. I'm sorry about that. No, there's no naturally occurring sound that can make you sick.
Okay. So those sounds that can make you sick, though, what can they be emitted from? Like, what kind of machines should we avoid as humans so that we're not affected by them?
Yeah. So.
Oh my.
Not to pick on data centers, but servers. The dull hum of servers will make you sick. I've been in server rooms for too long and come out just feeling like complete crap. And they have done studies where they've measured, and they've, outside of data centers, they've had a large amount of infrasound. It's really hard to say for me. Infrasound around them. Now there is some naturally occurring infrasound, but it's never loud enough to create a problem. You have to have something called a geophone to pick it up. Even it's like a very sensitive mic, and you
Okay.
can put it on the earth, and you can hear the sound of the earth, which is actually kind of cool. But because we can't hear it, they have to speed it up for us to be able to hear it.
Okay. So, what about like flyovers by military jets and things like that? Can they cause issues like that at all? Somebody who might live near a fort?
Um, I mean, I could see it causing ear problems with the sonic boom.
But nothing like mentally and physically, things like that.
No, no. Definitely nothing. It's just the boom sometimes. I mean, it hurts my ears. I don't know if it does anyone else.
Very.
Um, that's true, Dina. There is a frequency that allowed it to float, which is really neat. They've done some experiments with it.
Jewel fuel fumes. Oh my god, Dina.
Jet fuel.
Not jet, Jew fuel fumes. That's hard to say.
Wow, Dina, I thought we were friends.
That's whenever he's passing gas, just so you know.
Yes, Eddie, that's exactly right. Below 20 hertz. But I mean, I've been right up on aircraft when they're running and never had any problems from the fumes. I mean, maybe if you haven't ate that day, I mean, any kind of exhaust could make you nauseous. But
Well, we weren't talking about the smell. She was talking about the sound. She mentioned earlier. If you did you miss that comment? She wasn't literally talking about fuel.
oh,
She was talking about in the Bible. Here we go. I'm gonna put it back up for you.
oh, okay. So you're talking about resonance frequency. So there's a lot of debate over the Jericho thing, and with trumpets. I guess they were blasting trumpets around there or whatever, but there is a natural frequency to every object in the earth. And if you find that frequency, you can cause that object to shake itself apart by playing it, which is why, for example, Nikola Tesla made a machine he called the earthquake machine. But what he would do is he would calculate the resonance of a building, and then it would thump the ground under the building, and the building would resonate at that frequency because of frequencies sync with each other, and it would literally crumble and fall.
Is it kind of like that experiment we see on reels and stuff like that, where like they have sand or salt on something, and then he creates a sound, and it goes.
That shows the resonance frequency of each sound. It shows one of them, which is really common. They think is
She really did mean jet, but she said Jew, and it just went right along with everything. She meant jet fuel, Jew fuel.
And see, you said Juul, and I thought you were talking about like a vape, and
I couldn't say. It was so hard to say. Jew jet fuel.
Jew jet fuel.
Or something, whatever she said.
But yeah, anything if you found the right frequency would be able to be shook apart, which is why opera singers can shatter glass.
Shatter windows.
Because of glass is usually a higher frequency of resonance.
Okay. So then technically, there is a sound that can cause people to have hallucinations, paranoia, physical ailments, things like that. But it's very unlikely that we are going to actually experience that in day-to-day life.
Because everybody's body is going to have a different resonance frequency.
Okay.
Down to how much hair you have on your head.
Okay.
So
now
it would be rare for a sound frequency to make you sick, except for the the ULF that they use against people.
She makes a good point. What about UV?
You know, I'm not really sure on UV. I mean, our eyes are able to are not able to see it, and it seems like with the human body, anything that's out of our perception is an adjutant. I mean, UV is above the light frequency that we can see. Infrared is below what we can see, but we experience it as heat. So we're well aware of that.
Well, maybe our eyes cannot see it, but do you think it could affect the mind and the body?
See, I'm gonna say it could definitely give you a headache, and obviously too much UV is going to burn your retina and cause really bad problems. Um,
Of course, yeah.
so I would definitely wear those little things that give you on your eyes, because I accidentally looked at my foster dad welding one day, and I got what was called flash retina burns. And so for like 3 days, I was in agony. It was brutal.
Let's talk about that. What about physical pain? Do you think that here we go. Do you think that physical pain can cause people to see things, become paranoid, things like that?
Physical pain? I think. I mean,
I know what I think. I know
that
what
would
I
get
think,
into
but
your
I'm
area.
also thinking from a psychological perspective, and I want to
Yeah.
hear what your side is.
From my viewpoint, physical pain tends to override other areas of your brain unless you shut it off. So I think it could make you freeze up. It could make you back away. I mean, obviously, it can make you back away because that's your natural reaction, is to jerk away from pain. But I don't know about it creating any other kind of side effects.
I think, as you said, I think that some physical pain can overwhelm the brain, so to speak, not leaving room for the brain to be able to process reality. So much like maybe somebody going through withdrawal symptoms, they start, experiencing like things might be crawling on them, that they're surrounded by people who are trying to hurt them, et cetera, et cetera. And actually, that's not even just a withdrawal symptom. That's, them being on a drug even. So I think that when somebody's body is in excruciating pain, that the brain can actually produce paranoia like symptoms, and hallucinations and things like that, because the brain doesn't have the processes.
Yeah, and I mean, the apparent one is that when somebody's in physical pain, they get super cranky. Like that's the one that's really clear.
That's a nice way to say it. Super cranky.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's fun to be around whenever they are in pain. Stomach ache, toothache especially, or headache, migraine. Oof, you better just clear out.
Right. So then that leads us into posture, as you were saying. So if we're experiencing physical pain, right? Um, we discussed how the brain might react, may not react, but you mentioned something about posture. If we go into an environment in which we're already scared of, we already think there's something's going on there, or know that something's going on there, and we go in timid and hunched over, like you said, or whatever, it causes a natural tension in the neck, the shoulders, the chest, which can also lead to headaches and nausea and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know that is so predominant, I would say, in my opinion, because, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but maybe we should ask people on here too. I mean, what do you all think? Do you think that a posture can actually cause these feelings?
Yeah,
See? She would hear noises from a migraine.
There you go. See, and I've never experienced migraines except for, like, I think twice in my life, and it was so horrible I blacked it out. But in my opinion, if you're going in there and let's say there was a place that made me tense, right? And I go in there and I'm tensed up for a long time. When I finally leave and I'm relaxed a little bit, I'm going to start feeling all of the tense that I asserted on myself when I
True.
leave. Hi, Scott. The Fedora guy's here.
Mr. Fedora.
Mr. Fedora.
Mhm.
But,
Okay. Now, let's talk about mold and mildew.
okay. So mold can cause respiratory distress. I mean, and depending on how bad it is, it can sometimes immediately cause respiratory distress, which could get you kind of in a, especially if you have asthma or something like that, which could get you almost into a hyperventilating, slight panic attack kind of mode. The Florida guy, yeah. But and then mildew. Now that's my nemesis. Mildew gives me some respiratory issues. Um, Not like heavy, but they just it's like when you're having an allergic reaction to like pollen or something. Makes my nose runny, and it just it's a pain. And
Now, but let's let's talk about how it affects the brain. So we understand that it does respiratory things, whatever. Can it affect the brain and thought processes?
I I know that when that happens, like especially when pollen's up, right? Um, I get really bad headaches, and it does affect my ability to focus on anything other than the headache. Um, I don't know that it could create a hallucination or any kind of feeling or anything. Um, but again, like I've said a million times, I'm not sensitive to things around me at all.
Okay, Google. Can prolonged exposure to black mold cause hallucinations and paranoia?
Research indicates that prolonged exposure to certain molds and their mycotoxins can indeed affect the central nervous system, potentially leading to psychiatric symptoms like confusion, anxiety, and in severe cases, hallucinations or paranoia. These reactions are often linked to neuroinflammation caused by the toxins crossing the blood-brain barrier. If you're experiencing these symptoms, it's very important to consult with a medical professional to evaluate your health and environment.
Okay, Google. Thank you.
See, Google knows everything.
All right.
So does Andrea.
Yeah.
See
I
that?
mean,
Cause nervous disorders. Exactly what Google said.
yeah, I didn't think about the toxins crossing the blood-brain barrier and causing problems in your neuron synapses, and just basically clogging up stuff. I mean, I'm wondering if it can cause Alzheimer's or something, because that's just a plaque on your brain that causes Alzheimer's.
That's a good question.
But
Did we just come up with a solution to cure Alzheimer's?
they've come up with an ultrasonic treatment. It's still in the testing. But hopefully by the time I get old enough, if I experience that, they'll be able to use it.
Okay, so moving on though. With that being said, such as where we investigated, they did not experience prolonged exposure. So that would not have been a ruling to consider.
Well, yeah, but again, I think prolonged exposure maybe. Well, one of the individuals said that going near it or going up on top of it gave them that feeling. So what if some of the spores are leaking or something? Maybe they are kind of getting prolonged exposure. And it's not to,
With
we
that
haven't
being
got the
said,
results of the investigation yet, but it's not to say that it's mold.
right. But you do make a good point, though. When we were sitting at the command center on that particular investigation, I smelled mildew very strongly. Now, we've had a lot of rain recently, excuse me, and then it kind of dried up, but then there's been a really high humidity too. Now, I know mildew is not the same as mold, but yeah, mold sticks to everything.
And
So,
and
I mean,
things have a way of wafting.
if it's in the grass, though, and we're walking through it constantly,
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming in on your shoes, on your clothes.
Yeah. I mean, there was not the first thing I always look for is EMF, because that's my first thought, because I know what it can do to your brain. But I hadn't even thought of radon, or I'll see even a fungal infection. I'm sure that can be really bad for your health too. And Andrea mentioned COPD. That was one of the things that I was going to mention, that environmental effects can cause COPD. And that's just like even from regular air pollution from cars running. So, I mean, we can end up with all kinds of issues from just normal environmental effects.
Okay.
And especially, and I was going to say too, especially if somebody is sensitive to it, like there are people that have horrible allergies, or maybe their system is just tuned to have mold problems, or you know what I mean. Every person's system is different, or we'd all have one pill for each thing.
Right.
Which you're aware of whenever they're trying to get people's meds right.
Right. Can you think of anything else that maybe we haven't touched on that paranormal investigators should always keep in the forefront when going to eliminate natural causes of paranormal experiences?
That would be a really big factor to me, would be, see, lagoons, methane. I think you really just need to, like when you're going in, like we do, just be observant of everything. Just go, okay, what is anything out of the norm, basically? Is EMF high? Is there mold? Is there mildew? Is there a lagoon around, like she said? Because lagoons during the summer, they don't stay to themselves.
What does methane gas do to the human?
It's poisonous. It's the same thing as radon, though. It takes a buildup
So
to
if
cause
it's a
it.
lagoon though and it's outside in the open air, could it cause these types of symptoms that we were speaking
Like
of?
on a really hot day, if that's the thing, like and I don't want to be gross, but here's the facts of it. On a really hot day, if the sun starts cooking your lagoon, it's going to basically, it may not boil, but it'll evaporate. And all that bacteria in there is just not good for you. So, I mean, you could just walk by it on a hot day and you could end up sick because of bacterial infection that goes straight up your nose.
Can it cause paranormal or paranoia or hallucinations? So
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. I'd have to look it up. I'm
okay,
sorry, I
Google.
didn't mean to be unprepared.
Can methane cause paranoia or hallucinations?
Methane itself is generally considered non-toxic, but it can act as an asphyxiant by displacing oxygen in a room. When oxygen levels drop, it can lead to symptoms like confusion, dizziness, and decreased alertness, which might contribute to feelings of paranoia or other mental health changes. If you are concerned about gas levels in your home, it is safest to contact a professional for an inspection immediately. Would you like to know more about the signs of poor indoor air quality?
No, thank you.
Yeah, the house electrical not being grounded. That's
Got
true
it.
too.
So I don't know if everybody caught that or not, but Google said that really the only way that methane would actually affect the mind is if it's depleting the oxygen inside of a room,
So
which just typical lack of oxygen symptoms.
if you go on Google and look up hypoxia symptoms, you'll see what it could do to you. But Yeah, so there's those factors. I think a lot of people go straight for EMF, which I do, but there are a lot of other factors that can be part of it. Another thing, and you know how much I love Amy from the Dead Files. um, I want to point out something that she said is that in areas that are not very used, like attics and basements, our brains basically get a sense of dread as it is. Um, I mean, I know that was true when I was a kid and I'd had to go downstairs and I would always run up the stairs because it was like, you're worried someone's chasing you kind of thing. You know what I mean? You
But
come
that was
out.
the fun of it. You had to outrun it.
Well, that's your fun. For me, it was terrifying. It was not fun. But yeah, the unused spaces, and I forget how she referred to them, but the unused spaces in your house can become a place of dread. And not
Okay.
because of any environmental factor, just because like the psychological impact on it. Um, and of course, anything that's shadowed or looks ominous is always going to can cause feelings of dread unless you're completely immune to it. Um,
Right.
you know,
Or
just
you
like
could
if
be a
you're,
good paranormal investigator and be like, "Ooh, that looks like fun."
yeah, you're like, oh, looks like I could find something there. But like, but if you were like, let's say you were a normal person and you were in the woods and you came
We
across it,
paranormal investigators are not normal.
we are definitely atypical, definitely. And you came across a cabin. Most people in the woods are going to go, oh, I don't want to go near there.
See, me, I want to
We're
go
going to
in
be
it.
like, let's go in there and be nosy, you know. And yeah, and you feel like you're being watched. I agree. Um, and I don't think that ever goes away. There is always a feeling of being watched. I mean, even on this investigation, like when we were below, it was not it wasn't overwhelming, but there was a feeling of kind of like eeriness, So, but I think that's just because they're not frequently. I think that the more traffic that goes through something, the less it seems intimidating.
That's true.
And then there was, and this is a side note, but I forget who was talking about it, but somebody was talking to me about how houses are like a life, kind of.
That was me.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if they're not lived in, they just decay rapidly. But
It's
if they're lived
true.
in, they can like live forever.
That's the truth. I don't know if anybody else has ever noticed that or not, but the houses that are abandoned, if everybody pays attention, they Vicky, you saying I'm not normal? I agree.
Yeah.
Whether somebody actually puts maintenance into the home that they're actually living in or not, right? You ever notice that a house still stands? It still is, alive, so to speak. And as soon as the life leaves, thank you, Eddie and Jen.
Thank you guys.
As soon as the life inside the home walks out the door, and it's been sitting there for a while, it starts becoming decrepit. Things start falling apart. It starts falling down or whatever. So I do believe that, which is a paranormal thing as well, that we put the energy into whatever it is that's happening or whatever. Um, and so, I mean, that kind of circles back around to the beginning where I said, that we weren't going to focus on, how our environmental factors affect the paranormal, but it does kind of circle all back around, because if we're not I don't know how to put it, if we're not putting that energy into the home for it to remain standing, where's the energy coming from? The
And
home falls apart.
the way you put that made me think of
Monster house.
well,
That's what I thought.
a quantum physics principle called the observer effect.
Oh yes, okay, I know what you're talking about.
So when you observe somebody, they become more real, because if something is not observed, it does not collapse into its finite state. It's a wave or a field more. So maybe by being in the house and observing the walls and stuff, it makes it more structurally
It
sound. I
makes
mean, I
it
know that's a
exist.
crazy thought, but
It might be though. I mean, Andrea says all houses have a spirit. And Vicky, a house abandoned feels sad going in, but when someone moves, feels happy.
yes.
But no, you're absolutely right. I think that theory actually lends a lot of credibility in this particular case because, you know, I think everybody knows the quote, I think, therefore I am. This particular theory says if you see something, it is existent. So, and it kind of goes also along with the whole cryptid thing as well. You think you saw something, therefore you did see something. Therefore it now exists. And it only will exist as long as you're looking at it. So,
Yeah, and that's like and like I said, I've said a million times, I'm not sensitive or anything, but I can feel somebody looking at me.
right.
And I think that is a product of the observer experience. Like I don't think there is one person in the world that does not feel when somebody is looking at them. And you know what I
Like
mean?
right now, I feel like somebody's looking at me right now.
It's me. It's me. I'm sorry. I'm a creepy stalker. I'm staring at your face.
Get a life.
Oh my gosh. I know, totes.
But
But
but yeah, so maybe that's the house thing, the family's in it, they're looking at it, therefore it exists.
yeah.
Once the life leaves, it no longer holds its value, so to speak.
Vicky and Andrea are very right though. Like to me, houses just that are abandoned are just sad. Like they have just a feeling of sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's terrible. Like especially like old abandoned castles because they were bustling with life at some point and now there's just nothing there.
And they're ruins. So,
Yeah.
well, all right, we only have 3 minutes left, so is there anything else you want to throw out there, Rue?
Only that you're beautiful and I love observing you to make you more real.
So anyways, thanks for doing the show with me tonight.
You're
I
welcome.
literally had this thought, kind of a last minute thing, everybody. Just I've been thinking about it a lot since the investigation because it's not, like I said at the very beginning, in case you missed the beginning, it's not something I think that a lot of paranormal investigators actually put first and foremost as much as they probably should. I think a lot of us, and that includes myself, we're gung ho. We are going out there and we're like, oh, great, we got to find all the paranormal activity and why it's happening. But we don't ever sit there and go, wait a second, is there a natural reason for these experiences these people are having? And so I think that doing this show hopefully put that thought back out there for everybody to kind of say, hey, by the way, let's like Vicky put it, process of elimination. So, oh, Vicky, such a suck up.
I'm not a suck up. I'm just a realist. I'm pragmatic. So
Eddie and Jim makes a good point. Sometimes the energy is embedded in the woodwork. That's true. So we've
yeah,
seen many times
residual.
over where people have like taken wood from an abandoned house or something like that and then move it into another place, and therefore a haunting has come with it.
What's that? What's that thing where people that are sensitive put their hand on stuff and they can like?
Oh, scrying.
I don't remember what it's.
Isn't that scrying?
No, scrying's with the pendulum, isn't it?
No, scrying is writing and mirror work, I think.
Well, anyway, I think it's neat though.
I'm going blank. So, but all right, guys, that's it for tonight. I'm gonna go eat my burger. Reuben's gotta go get me some groceries and then come home and eat his food. So, everybody, thanks for coming in. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've been on. Things have just not been working out. So, all right.
Psychometry.
Psychometry. That's it.
Thank you, Dina.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. That was going to kill me.
All right, everybody. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll see you next week. All right. Bye.